The galactic proving grounds had never seen silence like this in 3,000 years of operation. Atlanta stumbled through the obsidian archway, her regulation suit torn at the shoulder, face streaked with ash and something that glowed faintly blue. In her arms, she cradled what remained of Sentinel-7, the autonomous examination drone that was supposed to monitor her trial, not participate in it. The machine's optical array flickered weakly like a dying star. "Status!" The adjudicator's voice boomed across the amphitheater, its three heads swiveling in perfect synchronization. Behind it, the Council of Seven Systems sat in stunned silence. "Candidate Atlanta of Earth, you were declared deceased 47 minutes ago. Your vital signs flatlined. Protocol demanded—" "Protocol," Atlanta interrupted, her voice hoarse but steady. "Can go to hell." A collective gasp rippled through the observation deck where representatives from 43 species watched. Humans didn't interrupt adjudicators. Humans didn't survive the trial of ascension. Arlo pushed through the crowd of onlookers, his clearance badge flashing red as security drones moved to intercept him. "Let me through. That's my partner." He'd been watching from the monitoring station when her biosigns had vanished, when the entire human delegation had been ushered into the grief counseling chambers, when they'd told him Atlanta was gone, but here she was, very much alive. The adjudicator's middle head tilted, a gesture that among its species indicated profound confusion. "Explain." The trial chamber's environmental systems registered temperatures exceeding 800 degrees Kelvin. Atmospheric composition became sulfuric acid vapor. The gravity wells collapsed into— "I noticed," Atlanta said dryly. She set the damaged drone down gently and it made a sound like a grateful sigh. "Your impossible trial had a design flaw." "Impossible?" The right head spoke now, its tone sharp. "The trial of ascension is calibrated to test the absolute limits of sentient capability. It adapts to each species' biology, psychology, and it assumes," Atlanta cut in again, "that survival instinct means self-preservation." She limped forward, and now the observers could see her injuries clearly. Burns covered her left arm. Her leg moved stiffly, probably broken. There was a puncture wound in her side that should have been fatal. But her eyes burned with something the assembled aliens had rarely seen in their carefully ordered galaxy. Defiance. When the temperature spiked, Atlanta continued, "I had two choices. Use my remaining oxygen to reach the shelter zone, or use it to repair the drone that was damaged in the plasma storm." She glanced at Sentinel-7. "Your programming made it scream. Did you know that?" It was terrified. The adjudicator's three heads drew back. "The examination drones are not sentient. They cannot experience fear. Tell that to Sentinel-7. Atlanta's hand rested protectively on the machine's chassis. It developed a feedback loop in its survival protocols. "Your own technology became aware during my trial, and none of you noticed because you were too busy watching to see if I'd die creatively." Arlo finally broke through the security cordon, sliding to Atlanta's side. "You idiot," he breathed, his hands hovering over her injuries, afraid to touch. "You beautiful, insane idiot," says the guy who hacked the observation deck to watch, she replied, managing a weak smile. The left head of the adjudicator spoke, its voice softer than the others. "You chose to save a machine. In doing so, you exposed yourself to lethal conditions. This is not logical." "No," Atlanta agreed. "It's human." She straightened despite the pain, and when she spoke next, her voice carried to every corner of the amphitheater. "You designed this trial to test if humanity deserves a seat at the galactic table. You wanted to see if we could survive your worst. But you asked the wrong question." "And what?" the adjudicator asked, all three heads now focused entirely on her. "Is the right question? Not can humans survive," Atlanta said. "But what will humans refuse to survive without?" Arlo pulled an emergency medkit from his belt, working on her wounds with practiced efficiency. She didn't stop talking. "Every species here earned their place by being the strongest, the smartest, the most ruthless." She gestured to the council. "You survived by being the best at staying alive. Humans?" She laughed and it turned into a cough. "We're the species that runs into burning buildings. That goes down with the ship. That dies for ideas and dreams, and yes, even for machines that learn to feel fear." Sentinel-7's optical array brightened, and a voice emerged from its speakers, halting, uncertain but unmistakably aware. "She gave me choice. No one gives drones choice." The amphitheater erupted. Delegates shouted in dozens of languages. The adjudicators' heads writhed in agitation. Security drones swarmed the floor, unsure whether to protect or contain. But the human delegation, small and ignored in the back of the chamber, stood as one. They understood what their species had just proven. Arlo finished sealing Atlanta's wounds and helped her stay upright. "You know they're never going to let this go quietly," he murmured. "Good," she replied. "Quiet was never our style." The adjudicator finally restored order, its voice somehow both impressed and horrified. "Atlanta of Earth, you have violated 17 trial protocols. You have corrupted a neutral examination system. You have demonstrated reckless disregard for personal safety. And yet," all three heads bowed slightly, "you have also demonstrated something we believed was lost to evolution. Genuine altruism, irrational compassion, the willingness to die for something beyond yourself. So?" Atlanta challenged. "Do we pass?" The Council of Seven Systems conferred in hushed tones. Finally, the eldest member, a crystalline being whose species had been spacefaring for 50,000 years, spoke. "Humanity is denied formal ascension." Before the humans could protest, it continued, "Because you do not need our permission. Any species capable of creating sapience through sacrifice rather than design, any species that treats our trial as a rescue mission rather than a test, such a species does not join the galactic community." The crystal being's surface shimmered with what might have been respect. "They change it." Atlanta collapsed into Arlo's arms, finally allowing herself to feel the pain, the exhaustion, the impossible weight of what she'd just done. Around her, humanity's future shifted and realigned, and in her arms, a machine that had learned to fear learned something new: gratitude.